A little halfway past the season, 93 games in, we stand at 47-46. Welcome back, everybody, to the Angels franchise. Today we have trade deadline and, of course, the draft. And we're on a little bit of a winning streak just to get ourselves over 500 to 47-46. We could potentially make a nice little playoff run, but even if we don't, that's not that big of a deal for me. It'd be nice. It's like a cherry on top, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't think a lot of people had us making the postseason anyway. My main goal for this season was just to be a competitive major league team. If we made the playoffs, great. If we don't, no big deal. Really, the main goal, rebuild that minor league system. We need prospects. So we got to hit on this draft. We got to make some savvy trades, which I think we did with Chang. But we got to hit on this draft. We got to find guys like Leandro Enriquez here. Man hit .410 at Cal State Northridge. 40 stolen bases, almost a 500 OBP. That's crazy. No wonder he was part of the Baseball America All-Offensive team. Now, second baseman Geraldo Chavez might be a guy that we could take mid to late round in the draft. 287 hitter, not going to drive in a ton of runs, not going to hit for a lot of power, but I'm kind of reminded of Placido Polanco. That's how I'm thinking of Chavez here. But he is a switch hitter. Polanco was not. It's kind of an old reference for some of you younger guys out there. But, guys, I will end up getting more content for you from the Cal State Fullerton Titans side series here. I'm not doing anything with that as far as gameplay or live streaming or anything, but it's mostly, again, just being used to get you some statistics and get you some backstory about some of these players that are four-year juniors or four-year seniors, if you will, if they're college guys. So let's get into the draft now. We got Will Stedman going to the Reds. We weren't really that high on him. Rufus Hawkins, the number 1 overall pick. I think that was a smart move. He was definitely the guy of the entire draft class. Now, Heath Cavanaugh, the shortstop, going to the Rockies. That's a good pick for them. I was really hoping that he would fall down to 8. It was probably not likely, but I was really kind of holding out hope. And Leandro Enriquez, we didn't really like him. Our draft rank, he wasn't that high. MLB rank, he was 3rd. The A's really liked his production at Cal State Northridge, I guess. So they like what they see from him. Luis Portillo, a lot of those high school guys, by the way, I did not put into the NCAA 07 series. So like a guy like Mark Hassett, he's a high school dude. I believe that Portillo was as well. Christian Griffin is an 18-year-old. So a lot of those high school dudes, I didn't really have a way to get them in to get statistics or backstories or anything like that. So we'll just have to roll with it. But a lot of guys that are in college, those dudes I did put in to get some stats for you. But Thomas Woodson is up here still. That's huge, by the way. We have him draft rank 5. That'd be a steal for us because the Cardinals could have taken him a pick ahead of us. They took a third baseman. They took Christian Griffin. So we might have lucked out here, but we do have some pretty decent players still up on the board. Juan DaCosta, got Sam Byers here. We actually think he's rated 22nd. I'm not big on taking closers here this high, so we will go with my guy, Thomas Woodson. And it is kind of a risk because he does have some flags, you know? His defensive numbers don't make him a third baseman. It makes him more of a first baseman. His size at 5'11" makes him more of a third baseman, not a first baseman. So it's just... And plus that overall rating, that potential range, it could very well be a C potential 50 overall player, which would be absolute bust territory for a top 10 pick. So let's just hold out hope, because there were other players like Campanella, DaCosta, Akeda to the Tigers. Horgan was a pitcher that we were looking at. Pagan, a catcher. We have Justin Blank, a starting pitcher up there going to the Brewers. They seem more like for sure things. I'm kind of using that term loosely a little bit, because it is the MLB Draft. There's never a for sure thing. That's why I love how the show does it. You can have a guy 100% scouted, and you still have ranges for all of the attributes, potential, and overall rating. So there's never a for sure thing. But we liked him. We liked Woodson at number 5 ranked. So I think we got a decent player. We'll have to see. So round 2, Nick Nugent. I love his potential, but his overall rating kind of scares me a little bit. But I think Chavez just has more room to grow, actually. You see that potential 82 to 99 plus the overall rating. His cap as 68 is better than Nugent. So I think that was a solid pick. We've now taken 2 infielders. I think with this compensatory pick, which is from Ohtani leaving us to go to the Dodgers, we got to hit on this one, though. And I think we got to focus on pitcher. So we see Nick Nugent goes to Tampa Bay. And really, we kind of lucked out here with round 2. There wasn't really anybody that we were scouting in full that got taken there. A lot of the guys that we're still interested in are still up on the board, like Sean Fuentes here at 54%. He might be a guy that we take here, but this one was really tough because I really need to focus on pitching. But man, Fuentes he's there, man. 66 to 84 overall, but 60 to 78 potential. He could be one of those guys with like D potential. He could help you immediately, but you know he's going to regress. But we've also got this dude, Chet Giorgio, 67 to 88 potential. So he's probably more like a B at that stage. And we haven't taken a pitcher yet. It's the Ohtani pick. It just makes sense. Like, we got to take a pitcher. We got to take an arm here, and that's what we're going to do. So that's the route we go. Now, this dude is interesting. He's interesting. Dave Mickless, 77 to 98 with 30% plus scouted. He's 63% interested in us, so I know that we could sign him fairly easily. But a 3-pitch mix, he's got some red flags too. I just don't think that he's a starter. I think he's more like a reliever. But I got to go with Fuentes. He just seems like an immediate impact guy. Let's do it. Let's do it. Now we've taken 3 infielders and 1 pitcher. I think we need to, and as much as I have scouted Robert Fujita and I've talked about him at length, he's young at 18. He looks like a solid project shortstop that could be in the minor leagues for a couple seasons and then bring him up. We've taken 1 pitcher. So I think we have to go with the guy that we know a little bit about. It's Dave Mickless, and we're going to move him to being a reliever. He could be a closer too with the 3-pitch mix. I'd have to look at his mix again. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of electricity. That's what you need from a closer. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see exactly what Mickless brings to the table here. But round 5, nothing's really standing out, guys. Nothing's really popping for me here. William Ash, not a lot of percent scouted here. Geraldo Alvarez, he's interested. You got Luis Castro. We know a little bit about him, so we'll go ahead and take him. I just like his potential. He's 21 as well, even though he's 30% scouted. And then we'll take this guy here, Keaton Fisher, as a reliever. So we've taken 3 pitchers, Giorgio, Fisher, and Mickless, and the rest were infielders. We did not take an outfielder. I just think that's a smart move. We'll focus on outfield next year. That's what we'll do. We'll focus on outfielders and pitchers next season. So now as we head here to the All-Star break, Carlos Estevez is an All-Star. That's surprising to me. I guess we need an Angels representative, but we have Mike Trout. And we also, by the way, have Logan O'Hoppe, which you'll see in just a moment here. Logan O'Hoppe is an All-Star, hitting about 221. What's up with that, man? 12 home runs, I guess, is what they like. Pop from a catcher. Not pop time, pop from a catcher. He's actually seeing some regression here, too, because of the batting average and the lack of production here. So that he's on fire, I guess, and they think that hot streak is going to help him in the All-Star game. I don't know. Home Run Derby, we didn't have anybody there. National League will beat the American League. I think probably because Logan O'Hoppe got the start. I hate talking bad about my dudes, and I like Logan O'Hoppe, but I think it's funny that the game says, yeah, you're an all-star, hitting 221. Must have gotten a lot of fan vote. So now as we head towards the trade deadline, everybody, what are we going to do? Well, Anthony Rendon is making a crap ton of money. 30, 35, 40 million over the next 3 seasons. So what would it be like if we cut him? Well, you'd have to pay 22 mil this year, 13 mil next year, and 7 in his final year. So that's not going to happen. So we might as well just keep him around and let him play. And, maybe in the final season, we take the $7 million hit. It sucks, but that's the situation. And I think in real life he does have a no-trade clause, which I'm going to honor here in this series, just to make it a little bit more difficult, maybe a little bit more realistic. Now, because we're at the deadline, I'm looking for guys on our roster that we can move. And honestly, I didn't see really anything because our pitching's young. I don't want to give that up. Trout, I don't want to give him up. What are we going to do? And I think it's Brandon Drury. We can move Drury back to Toronto We know this happens in real life all the time. Organizations are comfortable with bringing back guys they're familiar with. And we can acquire Spencer Horwitz, another first baseman, the left-handed first baseman. We were looking at him earlier when we were trying to acquire somebody to kind of fill in for Nolan Shonowell's injury. And then acquire Orelvis Martinez, a third baseman who has some pop. I like Orelvis Martinez. Pretty solid defender. We can work on that to become elite. But contact-wise, he's decent. Power, I like it. I think he's going to be able to build into a big-time contributor in that way. I was looking at Arjun Nimala, but I just didn't think that for Brandon Drury and a playoff chase, like Toronto would give up an 18-year-old prospect like that. But Orelvis is a top 50 prospect. Horwitz is not really anywhere there compared to Martinez, but I just felt like it's just not enough. So let's move on from Miguel Sano. And it kind of makes sense a little bit because they're moving on from Horwitz. He's younger, but they're kind of trading that for Sano and getting some power back. So it's a good move. Drury and Sano, some veteran presence, back to Toronto in a playoff push for some of their younger guys. And you look at Spencer Horwitz's numbers, he's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but he does have a little pop. Batting average, OBP, that's what you're getting on the offensive side from Horwitz. But from Martinez, you're not getting that. They're completely opposite players. Martinez is more the power guy. Look at those numbers here at the minor leagues. 28, 30 bombs. Average is not great, but OBP not great either. But the ribbies, the home runs, the doubles. I like Orelvis Martinez the most out of this trade because I think that that's really what third base is. Like, we need a power-hitting third baseman. Get us back to the Troy Gloss days, right? So I like Martinez. I think he's going to challenge Rendon for playing time next year. But we'll have to see. We'll give him a little tryout here for the second half of the season. He is a part of our 26-man roster at this point. But now our draft class, man. Look at this. We cleaned up. Chavez is an A potential. Dave Miklas is an A potential. Our first round pick, Thomas Woodson, is a 64B. That's a good starting point. Plus that vision that he's got. The only thing I'm really disappointed in is Sean Fuentes. He's the prototypical guy that you draft, and you look at his numbers, he's like, whoa, you can compete today at the major league level. But then he just starts regressing for no reason. So I am going to just expedite his growth. I'm going to call him up next season. I'm going to give him a shot in spring training. He's got to earn it. But if he gets playing time and he plays well and he wins Rookie of the Year, I'm changing his potential. I'll tell you guys right now, I will do it. Probably just move him up to a C. Nothing crazy, but yeah, we'll see. Leandro Enriquez, a guy that I was high on going to the A's. D potential, dude. I think we lucked out right there. Leroy Jones for the Mariners, C potential. Lewis Barrett, another guy, 62 C potential. Tyrell Horgan, another player we were looking at, starting pitcher, did not sign with the Mets, so he's able to come back into the draft next season. Phillies didn't have that great of a draft. Buster Campanella, a guy that we were interested in, 70 C potential. The Cubs had a pretty comparative draft to us. I think we had the best draft class out of everybody, honestly. Will Steadman, 79 potential. Was that worth the number 3 overall pick? Justin Blank looks pretty good, 94 potential at a 60-plus overall rating. So, yeah, there's a couple teams that kind of give us a run for our money as far as the draft results are going to go. But, man, I feel really confident that we did a bang-up job, man. Did a bang-up job. I mean, everybody else doesn't really compare. I mean, got some B potential people in there, maybe one A or two, but Kavanaugh looks pretty good, 66-83. He's kind of up there with Thomas Woodson, which I like. I mean, we were really high on Kavanaugh, and I'm taking Woodson anyway, so yeah, I like it. Rondell Spencer, 97 potential. That's pretty darn good. Orioles didn't have that great of a draft. The Red Sox got a lot of C potential guys in there. Got an A potential catcher, Rusty Begon, 73B. Whoa. He looks like he might be one of the better players here upcoming, but the Rays doing Rays things. They did not have one D potential player. Everybody's going to be able to progress in that system. Good draft class for them. White Sox, they could not sign 2 players. White Sox are going to White Sox, I guess. But look at the Cleveland Guardians here. Rufus Hawkins definitely was the dude. I was high on this guy. Cecil Full of Love. Love the name. A lot of B potentials there. Julian Lyons is a 90 potential. So, man, they got some good players, too. Michael Ikeda, I was high on him, but he's only a C. Paul Nixon, a 91. So, again, just kind of familiarizing ourselves with some of these players that we want to keep tabs on. Guys, maybe not so much that are lower in the class, like D's and C potentials and low overalls. But guys that are towards the top here, like Nick Ellison, 63A. Like, he's probably going to pitch at some point in this franchise series. But, man, I love our class. I think we had one of the best, if not the top 3. And something that I didn't show you guys was this process here. How are we going to do custom players? Well, as you know, channel supporters of mine, they get 1 player in this series, not 1 every year. They get 1 for the entire series. They gave me a list of their top 5 teams that they'd like to go to. And basically, I ended up wheel spinning that top 5 list and then creating these guys like Enrique Gonzalez to the Mariners, replacing their round 5 or round 6 pick. So that way, they're getting better that way. And we're not replacing their really good guy that they drafted in round 1 or round 2. And I don't want to remove those players because we focus so much on them, you know? So the Mets get a pitcher, a big guy, Brock Van Schubrock. Anthony Reagan going to the Cubs at first base. That'd be huge for them. They don't have a lot of depth at that position. J.J. Tremble to the Cardinals. That's going to be a big one here, too. A third baseman, kind of the replacement for Nolan Arenado. And a guy that we might be ending up seeing in some World Series eventually, you know, if we kind of get there. But Bailey Corver going to the Toronto Blue Jays organization here. Got that long hair. They love guys with some swag. I tell you what, Bo Bichette comes to mind. Alfredo Garcia going to the Chicago White Sox. This is a third baseman here. Play some good defense, good fielder, good power hitter. Josh Green from Japan, by the way, an old school delivery closer for the Minnesota Twins. Good overall rating for him. He's going to be kind of a load to handle towards the back end. We got Benjamin Rodriguez for the Astros. He's currently in the minor league system there for the Astros. All the footage you're seeing here is from Season 2. So you do have to wait. If you're going to kind of create players, you have to wait until these drafted guys are actually signed onto the roster. Then you can kind of replace them with these custom dudes. Will Wilson there for the Yankees. Very good players, immediate impact players with high potential. I wanted them to go to different teams. We had a lot of those guys on our board, but with the wheel spin, they just didn't get here. So I like the challenge. I like the idea that we're going to focus on dudes that are not in our organization. They're going to kind of be a thorn in our side, be a challenge for us, be a hurdle to get past them in the postseason or even in a World Series. So guys, the next time I see you will be in the next video for the playoff push. We're currently a half game back from the wild card. And we got the Rockies in full gameplay, and then we're going to do some quick cut highlights of other games that we've got that are going to impact our postseason push. And if we make it, great. If we don't, we don't. And that's okay. Because we've always got next season with a retooled roster and a younger roster at that. Looking forward to the offseason, especially trying to build this team through free agency and other trades. So that'll do it for today. Leave a like if you like this thing. I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and peace.